Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really getting into the architecture of your own mind.
Yeah, we're looking under the hood, so to speak.
Exactly. Our mission here is to give you the language, the vocabulary you need to sort of diagnose these predictable flaws in how we think.
We call them systematic errors or cognitive biases. They're not
Sure.
random mistakes.
Right, they're almost like built-in features.
Yeah.
And understanding them, well, gives you a really powerful diagnostic tool for yourself and for others.
And to really get it, we first need to talk about the two main ways our minds operate. Let's call them System 1 and System 2.
Okay, System 1, that's like the autopilot.
That's a great way to put it. It's automatic, super fast, requires almost no effort. It just delivers these impressions, intuitions, feelings instantly.
Like knowing 2 plus 2 is 4, or jumping at a loud noise, you don't think about it.
Precisely. System 1 just serves it up, effortless.
And System 2.
System 2 is the supervisor. It's slow, deliberate, effortful. This is where you allocate your attention for complex stuff, like calculations or logical reasoning.
And self-control you mentioned?
And crucially, self-control, yes. But, System 2 is often quite happy to just coast. It minimizes effort.
So it often just goes along with whatever System 1 suggests?
A lot of the time, yes. It tends to endorse System 1's intuitions unless there's a strong reason not to.
Let's make that effortful part really clear. Okay, if you're listening, try this. Multiply 17 by 24. Just in your head.
Yeah, do it now. That feeling, holding the numbers, following the steps. That is the perfect example of slow thinking. System 2 work.
And you feel it, right? It's not just mental.
Oh, no, it has a physical cost. Your muscles might tense up a bit, blood pressure rises, heart rate increases.
Yeah.
And if we could see your eyes,
My pupils would get bigger.
they dilate, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a super sensitive measure of mental effort. Your brain is working hard.
And the second you get the answer, 408, by the way,
Oh,
or you just give up.
poof. The tension releases, pupils contract. It's measurable.
And that cost, that effort, is why we have this law of least effort.
Exactly. System 2 is fundamentally lazy. It prefers the easy path. If System 1 offers a plausible-sounding shortcut, System 2 is often inclined to take it.
Okay, so System 2 often defers. That means System 1 has a huge role in shaping how we actually see the world.
Absolutely. And it does this mainly through its obsession with creating coherent stories, often ignoring things that don't fit.
This gets us to that key idea, WISIATI.
Right. What you see is all there is. System 1 is brilliant at weaving the best possible story from the information currently active in your mind.
It doesn't really care about the information it doesn't have.
Not really. Success for System 1 isn't about having all the data or even high-quality data. It's about coherence. Does the story hang together? If yes, System 1 is happy.
And that need for coherence leads straight to the halo effect, doesn't it?
It does. Our first impressions don't just sit there. They actively change how we interpret everything else that follows.
So like if a speaker walks out, looks great, seems really confident,
Your System 1 gives you that immediate positive vibe. And then you're automatically biased. You're likely to judge what they actually say more favorably than maybe you should.
it primes you.
It primes you, exactly. And sequence matters hugely here. Think about that classic study with the lists of traits. Alan is intelligent, industrious, impulsive, critical, stubborn, enviouses.
Okay.
Ben has the exact same traits, but listed in reverse. Envious, stubborn, critical, impulsive, industrious, intelligent.
And people see them completely differently, even though the traits are identical.
Massively differently. Alan sounds pretty good. Ben sounds like trouble. Coherence again. If you start with intelligent, industrious, your System 1 tries to make the later, maybe ambiguous traits fit that positive picture.
So stubborn becomes principled, determined.
Exactly. Like, oh, he stands his ground. That's admirable. But if you start with envious, stubborn, then intelligent suddenly seems dangerous, conniving.
Wow. System 1 just twists the meaning to make it all fit one narrative.
That's its job. Build the most coherent story possible.
But focusing like that, especially when System 2 has to really concentrate, it has a downside, right? It can make us miss things.
Big time. It can make us blind. This is the invisible gorilla study.
Ah, yes. The famous gorilla.
People were told to focus really hard on counting basketball passes between players in white shirts. A very demanding task for System 2.
And while they're busy counting,
A person in a full gorilla suit walks right through the middle of the players, thumps its chest, and walks off. Takes about 9 seconds.
something you absolutely couldn't miss, you'd think.
You'd think. But about half the people doing the counting task completely missed it. Didn't see it at all.
Their attention was just maxed out.
Totally maxed out. And the really crucial point isn't just that we can be blind to the obvious. It's that we're also blind to our blindness.
They didn't believe they missed it afterwards.
Nope. They were astonished. A gorilla? No way. It shows just how much can happen right in front of us when our limited attention is focused elsewhere.
Okay, so that blindness, that limited attention, it connects to these mental shortcuts System 1 uses, the heuristics, which can lead to bias. First up, availability.
Right, the availability heuristic. This is where we judge how frequent or probable something is based purely on how easily examples spring to mind.
So I can think of lots of examples easily. I assume it must happen a lot.
Basically, yes. If retrieval is fluent and easy, System 1 signals high probability. If it's hard to recall instances, it signals low probability.
And this shows up in relationships, right? Like with chores.
Oh, perfectly. Ask married partners to estimate their percentage contribution to, say, keeping the house tidy, or even starting arguments.
What happens? They both think they do more than their share.
Almost always. You remember your own efforts, your own contributions, or your partner's annoyances that you notice much more vividly, much more easily than you recall theirs.
So when you add up their estimates.
You usually get way more than 100%. It's not necessarily selfishness, it's the availability bias at work. Your own actions are simply more available in your memory.
And this availability thing really impacts how we see risk too, doesn't it?
Hugely. Imagine you hear about 2 dramatic plane crashes in 1 week. Those images, those stories are suddenly very vivid, very available.
So you might feel flying is much riskier than it actually is.
Exactly. You might suddenly decide to drive or take the train, even if the statistical risk of flying hasn't changed one bit. The ease with which frightening thoughts come to mind amplifies the fear.
Okay, second heuristic, anchoring.
Anchoring. This one is fascinating. It's about the power of a starting number, even a totally random one.
How did that work?
Well, when you have to estimate something, a price, a date, whatever, your mind often grabs onto an initial value, the anchor. Then you adjust away from it.
But the adjustment isn't enough.
Almost never. Your final estimate stays too close to that starting anchor, even if the anchor itself was completely irrelevant or arbitrary.
That's the weirdest part for me. How can a random number influence a serious judgment?
It seems crazy, but it happens. The anchor sets a sort of range, and System 2's adjustment is, well, lazy and insufficient. There's this quite unsettling study with experienced German judges, average of 15 years on the bench.
Okay, professionals.
They read a case description, like a shoplifting case. Then, before deciding on a sentence, they were asked to roll a pair of dice. But the dice were loaded.
Loaded how?
To only land on either a 3 or a 9.
Wait, judges. Rolling dice before sentencing. And it affected them.
Profoundly. The judges who rolled a 9 gave the shoplifter an average sentence of 8 months.
Okay.
The judges who rolled a 3 gave an average sentence of only 5 months.
That's a huge difference, just from a random number rule.
A 50% anchoring effect. Their years of experience didn't stop their System 2 from being unconsciously tethered to that completely meaningless number. It's powerful stuff.
Right, so System 2 is our control mechanism, but it's lazy, easily anchored, and it gets tired. Which brings us to the cost of a depleted System 2.
Yeah, think of self-control and focused mental effort like that multiplication problem earlier as drawing from the same limited pool of energy.
Like a mental muscle that gets fatigued.
That's a good analogy. And when that resource is depleted, when System 2 is busy or just tired, System 1 gets more influence.
And what happens then?
Well, we see predictable changes. People tend to make more selfish choices. Their judgments become more superficial. They might use simpler, maybe even more biased language.
And the famous example, the sweet tooth.
Ah, yes. Load someone's mind, make them hold, say, 7 digits in memory, tax their System 2, then offer them a choice between fruit salad and chocolate cake.
They go for the cake.
Much more likely to, yes. System 1 has a bit of a sweet tooth, and when System 2 is busy, it can't exert the self-control to resist the temptation.
And this isn't just lab stuff. You see this depletion effect having massive real-world consequences, like with those Israeli parole judges.
That study is just stunning. These judges review parole applications all day long. It's hard work. The easy default decision, denial, less effort.
So researchers looked at when they actually granted parole.
They tracked the approval rate across the judge's day, specifically around their 3 food breaks: morning snack, lunch, and afternoon snack.
And the pattern was clear.
Unmistakable. Right after a break, when they're rested and fed, The approval rate jumps up to around 65%. System 2 is refreshed, ready to engage with the complexities.
But then,
Then, as the hours pass before the next break, the approval rate steadily drops. Plummets, actually. Right before the next meal, it's close to zero.
wow. So tired, hungry judges just default to no.
Essentially, yes. They don't have the mental energy left to override the easy default. A person's freedom can literally depend on the timing of the judge's lunch break.
That's sobering. And this system 2 laziness also messes with how we understand data, right? The law of small numbers.
It does. Our system 1, the storyteller, it loves patterns and hates randomness. It wants causes for everything.
So it jumps to conclusions based on small amounts of data.
Exactly. It assumes small samples must be highly representative of the whole population. But statistically, small samples are where you're most likely to find extreme results, just by chance.
Like the small schools example. People thought they'd found the secret sauce.
Right. There was this finding that the most successful schools tended to be small, which led to huge investments in creating smaller schools.
But it wasn't the whole story.
Not at all. It turns out that the least successful schools also tended to be small.
Wow.
The finding wasn't really about small schools being inherently better or worse. It was just a statistical artifact. Small samples simply produce more variable, more extreme results, both good and bad.
But System 1 prefers the simple story. Small schools are better.
Absolutely. It prefers a neat causal story over the messy, unsatisfying truth that a lot of what we observe is just random variation. Accepting randomness takes System 2 effort, and we often resist paying that cognitive price.
Okay, so let's recap the toolkit we've built. We have System 1, fast, intuitive, story-driven, and System 2, slow, effortful, lazy, easily depleted.
We've got WYSIety. What you see is all there is driving that System 1 coherence machine.
The halo effect, where first impressions distort everything else.
The mental shortcuts, heuristics, like availability, judging by ease of recall, and anchoring getting stuck on initial numbers.
And the law of small numbers, seeing patterns and randomness, because System 1 hates chance. These are the terms, the concepts, to help you spot these predictable errors.
Definitely. But maybe we can end on something even more profound, a fundamental conflict built into how we even make decisions about our own lives.
Okay.
It's the tension between the experiencing self and the remembering self.
Two different selves.
In a way, yes. The experiencing self is the one living moment by moment. It's the self that answers the question, does this hurt right now?
Okay, the one in the present.
Right. But the remembering self is the one that looks back. It's the storyteller, the historian, constructing the summary. How is that experience on the whole?
And the remembering self is the one calling the shots for future decisions.
Overwhelmingly, yes. We make choices based on the memories we expect to create, not necessarily the actual moment-to-moment experience itself.
And how does that remembering self form its memories? Is it accurate?
Not really. It's heavily biased by two things. The peak-end rule.
Peak.
It remembers the most intense moment of an experience, the peak, and how the experience ended. And the second bias is duration neglect.
It ignores how long the experience lasted.
Largely, yes.
Yeah.
The overall duration doesn't seem to factor much into the final remembered evaluation. It's all about the peak intensity and the ending.
That seems odd. Can you give an example?
Yeah, classic experiments involve mildly painful experiences, like holding your hand in uncomfortably cold water.
Okay.
People might endure one trial, say, for 60 seconds, then another trial where they endure the same 60 seconds plus an extra 30 seconds where the water is made slightly less cold but still unpleasant.
So the second trial is objectively longer and involves more total discomfort.
Correct. But because it ends on a slightly less painful note, when asked which trial they'd prefer to repeat,
They choose the longer one.
often yes. They choose the one with more total pain because the remembering self gives it a better score due to the less unpleasant ending. It preferred the memory, even if the experience was worse.
That's quite unsettling.
Yeah.
Our memories aren't reliable guides to what we actually enjoyed or suffered through.
It suggests we can't fully trust our preferences, even based on our own recent experiences, to truly reflect our best interests over time. The remembering self might choose a path with more suffering if it promises a better story or a better ending moment.
Which leaves us with a really fundamental question then.
Indeed. When you're making choices about your future, your career, your relationships, your health, whose interests should you prioritize? The self that actually lives through every single moment of the experience.
Or the self that just gets to look back, edit the tape, and decide how it remembers it. Which self gets the final say?